Hey lovers, welcome to today's Couple with Katie show. I'm so pleased to be with you. First week of January, back into some routine and rhythm, which is, I'm not going to lie, a little bit of a shock to the system after having a really lovely Christmas break. Let me just turn off my emails here, otherwise they're going to ping and that will be distracting. Say hi as you're joining. Hey, Kath, lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. We're going to be talking about manifesting today, which feels appropriate in January if you're not already completely overwhelmed and done with everybody talking about manifesting and how to call in your big, bold, audacious desires for 2023. If you're not done with that conversation yet, if you're not already bored of it on the 4th of January, then stay tuned because I've got something important to share with you today. Jody, hello, darling. Is that Jody down in Hove? Jody, is that the Jody? Helen, hello, darling. Good timing. Making a cuppa. I've got my cuppa. Got chamomile because I've already had way too many cups of tea. I think I've had 3 cups of tea this morning, and that's enough. I don't need any more tea in my system. Who's this? Morning. Hi, afternoon. Where did that morning? Yep, it is. Oh, goodness. Did I say good morning? I don't know. It's afternoon. Yeah. Where the hell did that morning go? I don't know. Hey, Joe. Lovely to have you. Hi. Hi, Kate. Hello. So good to see you too. Hove Jody. Yay. It's so nice to have you, honey. So nice. Yeah. So we're going to talk a bit of manifesting. So spoiler alert, though, for those of you who are in my love lounge, I did already talk about this on one of my Ask Me Anything lives. And maybe you still need the reminder. Maybe I'll say this in a slightly different way. You'll receive it differently. So we'll take it a little bit deeper. Let's see what comes through. But it's so wonderful to have you all here. And if you are watching on the replay, no worries. Let me know. Type hashtag replay and I can say hello to you. And I like to know who's tuning in. So, darlings, how was Christmas for you if you celebrate it? How were the holidays for you? How was your new year? How does it feel to be in 2023? Are you enjoying being back into the routine and rhythm of life? I'm easing in this week. I've still got my out of office on my emails. So if you email me, you'll get that this week because I'm just easing in. I'm still getting my calendar sorted for the year. I'm still feeling into what this year is about for me. I'm still feeling really intentional around that. Not least, I'm running a visioning workshop with some of the women who can make it from my love lounge next Friday. We're meeting in London, and it'll be so good to be in person with people. I cannot wait to actually physically hug people and see face to face women I've been working with for years, and we've still not met in person. It's amazing how deep a relationship can become and how much a part of someone's life I can feel and vice versa. And we've never actually stood in the same room before. It's all done over the internet. Helen saying not liking being back to normal. Yeah, we did have a really, really good break over Christmas. We properly down tools. We did a lot of walking and yeah, it was really nice. Just had a really, really proper break, which was awesome. Emma, hello. Whoop, whoop, can't wait. Yes, I'll see you Friday. Can't wait. And Helen, by the way, I know it's a big birthday coming up for you. So happy birthday in advance. What day is your actual birthday? I know it's coming up. All right, darling. So let's dive into this. So I mentioned in my little preamble that the theme in the Love Lounge, which if you don't know is my membership group, and you're so welcome to come join us over there. The theme in the Love Lounge in December was relationships. So we have a different theme every month. Some themes are like this month is goals, desires, and dreams. Of course, it's January. We have money next month, for example, self-care, sex and intimacy, leadership, health, well-being, mind-body connection. We have different themes every single month, and December was relationships. And we had a guest expert come in. So we have amazing teachers come into the lounge. So it's not just me. You get other internationally renowned teachers. We had Andrea Balboni come in and did a masterclass on how to have a healthy relationship, how to call in a healthy relationship, how to maintain and sustain a healthy relationship. So she and I actually do very similar work. And I love that, because while we sing from the same hymn sheet and, essentially speak the same language, she still says some things in a way using language that I don't. And it was interesting because she said something during her masterclass. She was teaching a concept which I'm familiar with, which I applied and have applied many times in my own journey to calling in my now husband. And yet she used a different language, and her language helped me to have a real light bulb moment. And it helped many women in the community have a light bulb moment. And I wanted to share what my light bulb was around this, and a real life success story, actually. It's a real success, a real manifesting success story that I want to share with you today to help you if you are in a process of manifesting or calling in something that you really deeply desire. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a relationship. I know a lot of people in my world are single and calling in their person. It could be anything at all. So she said, when it comes to calling in your desires, you have to imagine. So I'm totally sharing exactly what Andrea said. This isn't me. I'm like stealing her sentences here. She said, you have to imagine your desire is like a ball, and imagine it like a football, and you're holding the football. Oh, volleyball feels more fun for me, a volleyball. And you're not gripping onto it tight, because if you're gripping on it, can't be thrown or received. You're holding it really lightly. So there's room for movement with the ball. So you're holding your desires lightly. And the reason why she had us imagine holding our desires lightly, so we're not letting go of the ball, we're not dropping the ball, we're not throwing it away, but there's movement there, that we're not gripping on so tight so that there's no possibility for the ball is stuck there, right? It's light, there's a lightness to it, and the energy around it feels really light and playful. Actually, she's sort of lightly holding the ball. And she was sharing that analogy because it was linking into a teaching, which I teach. It's in my book, which a lot of us who talk about manifesting teach, is the importance of, yes, identifying your desire, being really clear about what it is that you want, rather than falling into the habit of only focusing on the things that you don't want, right? We need to refocus our energy on what it is that we want. And then once we've given ourselves permission to acknowledge our desire, which often takes a lot of courage and bravery to really state it out loud what you really want, then we've got to let it go. We've got to completely release attachment to it. We have to surrender into a space of absolute faith and trust that that desire is meant for us, and we don't need to cling onto it for dear life. We can hold it lightly. And look, in my experience, that has been one of the biggest and the hardest spiritual lessons to come to terms with and master. And I wouldn't even say I am a master at it. I am still very human around this, although I have become a lot better at it. And I have a ton of evidence now to prove that when I hold my desires lightly, I can receive them more easily and in a way that is just perfect for me. I have evidence, so I can lean into that faith and trust even more. If you don't have a lot of evidence, you'll need to find people who have got success stories, who can show you and prove to you that it is possible to receive your desires when you've held them lightly, when you haven't gripped on, when you've released attachment. And you need to lean into their faith and trust in the first instance until you build your own evidence. And then you can lean into your own faith and trust, your own evidence. And so for me, for a long time, I was leaning into other teachers, other coaches and so on, who were sharing their stories of success with me. And I was absolutely leaning into them and leaning on their own faith, their own trust as I developed my own. So the specific story I wanted to share with you around this is actually, first, let me have a sip of my tea and let me just acknowledge the comment from Helen, whose birthday is on Monday. So excited for you. Okay, hold on. And by the way, is anything I'm sharing at the minute resonating with you? Do you find it difficult to, as I used to and still do sometimes, do you find it difficult to have a desire and then let it go? Like, because those two don't seem to make sense, right? It's like I have the desire, but then you're telling me to let it go. But I really, really want it. I don't want to let go of the thing that I want. So when I was single, I really, really, really wanted to call in my person. I wanted a really fantastic, healthy relationship. I wanted to create family. Don't tell me to let that go. How do I hold the desire that's a deep, deep yearning? I've finally given myself permission to acknowledge this desire. I've given myself permission to state it out loud that I want this for myself in my life. And then you're telling me to surrender it and let it go. I don't know how to do both. Like for me, that was just flabbergasting that I would be asked to get real clarity on it, really allow myself to desire it, and then let it go. I couldn't hold both. It was really confusing to me. I'm wondering if you relate to that. So some of you may have heard that my family are moving to America this year. It's so bizarre to say it. I mean, I kept saying it to January on New Year's Day. I was like, we're moving to America this year. This year, we're moving to America. It's like that brain exploding emoji. We still can't quite believe it. And we're very excited, / nervous / have a to-do list as long as my legs, which is pretty long. So we're moving to America. Now, when I was single, my desire wasn't just to meet an amazing guy. I had a long list around what I wanted from that relationship. I wanted to meet a guy that would be willing to travel with me, that valued travel as much as I did, that would want to live in different countries, that would allow us to create a family where, I mean, at the time, it was all I was thinking about was my son, but my son could go to school in a different country. I really wanted that for him. I wanted him to have expanded life experiences. I wanted him to, see the world and try different things. And I just really, really wanted that. And then I met James. So that was a huge manifestation right there. And when I met James, he was in, and is still in, a job that, no matter which way you looked at it, it was fact in black and white. It would be impossible for him to take his job to a different country. Fact, when I met him. But I didn't look at my list, which I call the man menu. I didn't look at my list of things that I wanted in my guy and be like, yeah, he ticks that, he ticks that, ticks that, ticks that. The whole living overseas thing, not so much. Oh, having my son be educated in a different country. So no, like my heart fell in love with his heart. We had a soul connection, and I couldn't refuse this beautiful relationship. But it wasn't ticking all the boxes. I still desired to live in a different country. Different countries, plural. I still wanted my son to have different educational experiences. I didn't let that desire go. I held it lightly. I still talked about it. I'm looking over there and down there. They're all stuck up, but I've got vision boards that reflect that desire. And yeah, I would speak to James about it. I would still share the desire with other people. Sometimes as I spoke about it, it did come off a little victim. I'm not going to lie. And I did my best to continue to hold the desire lightly. As it happened, miracles are possible. And James worked very hard to get a promotion. And interestingly, he said to me just a few weeks ago, he said, I wouldn't have got that promotion if it wasn't for you, Katie. He said, you inspired me to really go for that and to really persist with that. James isn't academic. He didn't love school or do well at school. And this promotion required him to pass an exam that is seriously difficult. Most people don't get through it. Some who do get through it, get through the second time round or the third time round. It's tough. It takes a lot of persistence. And there's only one opportunity a year to go for this exam. So he failed the exam the first time. He got through, I think it was the second time, unless it was the third, but I think it was the second time he got through. But boy, oh boy, did it take him some persistence. Now, he wasn't going for this promotion so that he could get a job so that we could work overseas. That wasn't we still didn't know that it was possible for him to transfer his work to a different country. And by the way, this is his real desire, is he wants to see out his career with this organization. He's in the police and he wants to see out his career with this organization before retirement. So changing jobs really wasn't an option for him. This is something that's really important to him. But we didn't think it would be possible he could take it to a different country. And so he passed the exam. And then he went on to do the interview process, and there's a bunch of essay writing. I mean, like this, it's a process. And he passed it all and was promoted. So yay. As it happens, a role was available only to people of that promotion, of that level, that rank. And he was invited to apply for it. And we ummed and ahed because did we want to live in America? Did we want to live in that particular part of America? And we decided we were up for it. Now, at the same time, so we may well have been up for it, but, and I want to say this sensitively and carefully, because it's actually quite still a little raw and emotional. My son's father passed away early last year, so 2022. Still getting used to saying last year. And of course, that was one of the other impossibilities. I couldn't live in another country and have my son experience school in a different part of the world because I wanted him to be near his dad, and his dad wanted that too. So that was like a double whammy of this desire being impossible. His dad passed away. And while that has been dreadful and difficult, it opened a lot up for us because suddenly whatever Finn wanted to do and I wanted to do, we could just go do that now. So that possibility opened up. Now that was something that seemed impossible. I could never have seen a way around that. I would never have wanted to take him away from his dad. And so for that to open up at exactly the same time, that opened up at exactly the same time as James was invited to apply for this position in America. Couldn't make it up. And it happened at exactly the right time for my son in terms of his schooling, and he wants to go too, because we all need to be on board with this decision. We all need to be really, really up for it because it's a big life change, and we happen to all be really up for it. So the desire is being manifested now. And we did a recce visit to the States at the beginning of December. We've looked at schools, we've looked at houses, we've got to know the areas. We understand now the type of lifestyle we want to create there and that we can create there in a very particular area. So we've done a lot of research, and now I have my project management tool, Trello, lined up from January through to July with tasks that we have to now complete in order to be able to relocate, rent out our home, move my business, all the things, all the things. And it's perfectly timed because my son finishes his GCSEs in June, and then he will start a new school year, 2 years of high school in America in August. It all has lined up absolutely perfectly. There have been bumps along the road. There will be, I'm sure, more bumps along the road. Logistically, there's a lot to navigate. And we're in this together. And we're on the same page. And we're creating this. This is happening this is my 7th year of being with James. This was on the desires list for me many years before I met James. So this is a desire that has been manifesting for a very, very long time. And for most of that time, it was deemed impossible. But I held it lightly. And I never, ever, ever stopped desiring it. But I wasn't clinging. I was open. And, you know, whenever James and I had the conversations about wanting to live overseas, and then we'd go into that, oh, but we can't because of your work, and we can't because of Finn's dad, and we can't because of blah, blah, blah. Every time we said we can't, I said, and I'm still available for it to happen. That really makes me want to cry as I say that. So let me take a sip. I said, I am still available for it to happen. I don't know how, but I'm still available for it. And that is my standard sentence with anything that we desire in our family, that I desire, anything that seems impossible. We're like, I'm still available for it though. It does seem impossible. It does seem to be in black and white that can't happen. And the key word there is and. I'm still available for that. I'm still available to receive it. Because I know I've witnessed too many in my own life and the lives of my clients. I know miracles are possible. I know miracles are normal. We've made out, like, I feel like even the word miracle shouldn't exist because it's possible for us. All of this lined up with perfect precision timing. Apparently now is the right time. And I can see that. I can see that my relationship with James is at a point and a strength that can handle such a massive move with his children, because in the first instance, they're not coming for the first few months, they won't be with us. And then it's still a little like up and down as to when and how, but the desire is there and we will work it out. We will work it out. The timing for Finn's schooling is just so perfect. Like, we have to trust. You have to trust in divine timing. Just because it hasn't happened at the time and in the way that you think that it should, it doesn't mean that it's not being created for you in the way that's perfect. I waited 8 years for James to come in. 8 years. It took a shit ton of faith and trust. And I now can see with retrospect why. I wasn't ready for him until I was. I had my work to do to be the vibrational match. I had my work to do to actually be able to have an empowered relationship. And it's something I'm still working on. I'm not always super empowered in my relationship. I'm still a work in progress, as is James. And we're in it together and we work at it together. And thankfully, it's an easy ride with us. But the timing was meant to be. He wasn't even available sooner. I had to wait for him to even become available while I was doing my inner work, while I was preparing myself for him, for that relationship. We have to trust in timing. And I just I thank God that I had to wait 8 years for him. There's so many examples I could give. There's like, as I'm sharing this with you, like all these different examples in my life of like, I'm being reminded of why the timing was perfect, all the things I had to wait for. I'll just give you one example that's coming to me. Um, I had a property with my ex that just long story short, it didn't sell for many years. 9 years actually it took. And in those 9 years, I couldn't realize my investment from that property, which meant I was renting, and renting was actually kind of cool because I got to experience lots of different things. And it meant I was moving a lot with a young child, and I didn't have that certainty that I really craved from home ownership. And the truth is, had I been able to have sold that property and received the equity from it, I wouldn't have the business I have today. So we're going way back in time now to sort of 2012 when I formally started the School of Self-Love. If that property had sold, this business would never have got off the ground and be where it is today, because I'd have just spent that money. I wouldn't have invested it in a property. I was struggling financially back then. The motivation it took me to get my coaching practice up and running, the way just the persistence, the determination, the motivation to show up day in, day out wasn't just coming from a place of like deep passion to want to help women change their lives. I had to earn money. I had to put food on the table, and I was unwilling to just go get a job. I could have, but my passion to help and help women change their lives as I had changed and was changing my own was so powerful that I couldn't just go get a job. And so I worked freaking hard to pay my rent and to put food on the table and to clothe my son, put petrol in the car. I mean, honestly, for a few years in the beginning there, I was living hand to mouth, and my business became what it became because I put the time and energy into it day by day, month by month, year on year. And then now I'm building on it, and it's a thriving, beautiful business. I'm so proud of it, and it's helping thousands of women now. Had that property sold when I thought that it should, in the timeline that I thought it should happen, I wouldn't have created what I've created as quickly as I've created it, actually. Everything's perfect. Everything's meant to be. There's a comment here I just want to check out. Lorraine, hey, Katie, watching from my bed as I've got flu. Oh, darling, seems like everybody's got the flu. I'm sending you a lot of love with that. Sounds so exciting for you, all coming together. Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I think it's important to remember that when we hold our desires lightly, they will come in the perfection of time. I really do believe that our desires are meant for us. Your desires are meant for you. Don't give up on them, and don't cling to them. Trust that they will come in the goodness of time. You will have to take action. There's things you'll do to move towards the desires. And most importantly, remember that even when it seems impossible, you can say, and I'm available to receive it. In the perfection of time, I trust and know it's coming. You've really got to have your own back on that. So, my darlings, I know in January, you're tapping into your desires, you're tapping into everything that you want to come in for you in 2023 and beyond. And so I invite you to be brave, get that clarity, give yourself permission to dream big and declare what it is that you really desire, what it is that you really want, and then surrender it because you're able to hold it lightly with the faith and trust that you know it's coming. Because it is. So I'm sending you tons of love. If you've got any comments or feedback or questions on the back of that, pop them in the comments. I love to read them. I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. My pleasure, Lorraine. And I will see you next week. Love you tons. Bye.